one of the parables that has always kind of made me uncomfortable is the one that Jesus tells in Matthew 20. And it's because the vineyard workers that have been there all day long make the same wage as the ones that came later in the day and only work a couple of hours. Their response is like, hey, this is unfair. And yeah, I have that same reaction too. It seems wildly unfair to me. And I know I'm not alone in this. And that's probably why Jesus gave us the parable in the first place. Welcome to the Peculiar Podcast. I am Laura McGregor. And if you have ever kind of struggled with faith, healing, or just simply finding your way back to God and who He meant you to be, same. You're in the right place. So I wanted to give you a couple of examples from my own life of how this had played out. A couple of months ago, I had a friend that was going through some difficult circumstances. And when I got home after talking with her, I prayed and I told God that, hey, I know that you're guiding us, but if this is what your guidance looks like, I do not want any part of it. And it wasn't that I was thinking that I was going to turn my back on God and on faith. But I was scared. I was scared about what she was going through was what I was going to go through. And the Lord simply sat me down and gave me a question. He said, Laura, what is your name? Now, this seems like a very simple question, but it took me a lot longer than I'd like to admit to wrap my head around it. But my name is Laura. And what God was teaching me in that moment was that I do not need to worry about how He is guiding my friend. I need to worry about how He's guiding Laura. Now, another instance on the other end of the spectrum was that I had a friend that was undergoing some financial difficulties at the time. And we were praying that God would come through like He always does. And He did. He came through for her, and the money just kind of like easily dropped into her lap. And praise God, I really love a good testimony of how God has shown grace in other people's lives. But when I got home, I was mad. I told the Lord, you know what? I have been following you for a long time now, and where is my blessing? Where is my XYZ platform or the job that I've been waiting for? Whatever. Where is that, Lord? Have I not been faithful? And again, He sat me down and He told me, Laura, what's your name again? And I said, okay, I got this one. My name is Laura. Correct. My name is Laura. And I got it sooner than I did last time, but still it took me longer than I'd like to admit. But I need to worry about what Laura is being guided through and not what my friend is being guided through. Now, I think that a lot of times what we misinterpret as favoritism is actually God being a good parent. Because I remember this was pretty recently. I was talking to the Lord about how I would like Him to give me confirmation about something that I knew I needed to do, but I still wanted the umpteenth confirmation on it. And I was like, hey, Lord, why don't you send me some signs? Remember when we used to do that? That was so cool. He used to send me a lot of signs and confirmation when I was very young in my faith and apprehensive. He led me very gently that way. But now He sat me down and reminded me, Laura, you are a grown woman in the faith. And although he still sends me signs and confirmation when I ask for them because he's a good father. I am in a different season of my life. I know more about who he is, and he has proved that he is trustworthy to me. So I can rely on those things. I don't need copious amounts of confirmation. So he simply told me, Laura, you know who I am. So walk in that. And that kind of reminds me of when a parent brings home a new baby and the older sibling is a little bit jealous of the attention the new baby is getting. It's not necessarily that he's getting any more attention than the other child, but it just looks differently. And for a minute there, we do miss that kind of attention and focus. But it's not necessarily that we want to go back there. The child wants to still live his life as, a grown sibling. He doesn't want to go back to a baby necessarily, but it's that attention that he's missing. And me, like the vineyard workers, sometimes I do interpret it as you're favoring somebody more than me, and I get jealous. And it's not that we have lost any love or favor, or even that the vineyard workers lost any pay or work. But we tend to interpret it that way in our own minds because of the things that we have been through in life, the circumstances that have told us, and just the plain old enemy lying to us and telling us that we will never achieve that same level of whatever. And deep down inside, I think that of all the stories that I read in the Bible, of the way that God has provided for people, and then when I see things like this, the way that he's provided for other people, and I'm just sitting here waiting and waiting and waiting, and I'm thinking, when is it my turn? Deep down, I am also thinking, am I worth him taking care of me like that? Sure, he's done that for other people, but why would he do that for me? And the truth is that it's not about me. It's not about what I'm doing or my performance. It's about who he is. And he is a good father, and he is generous, and all of his children get the same amount of love and favor. It's just that we are in different seasons of our life, and the attention might look different. The things that we need to walk through, the ways that I learn, the correction that I respond to is not going to be the same way that you respond. And God, being the good father that he is, knows that about us. And he tailor makes every plan just for us. So rejoice in that relationship, wherever you are, that you have an entirely personal and unique relationship with the creator of the universe. And he loves you and he favors you because of who he is. Now, I want to talk a little bit about bringing these things to him. I had a lot of anger surrounding these topics. When jealousy rears its ugly head and I start to look sideways and every which way, I have anger that I gotta process. And when I can lament to him in a way that I am coming to him with my messiness and my disapproval and disappointment, it builds relationship. Lamenting is kind of a practice that I think that a lot of Christians have gotten away from over the years, but it is a really important thing to enrich our life and relationship with God. Because of all of the Bible study that I've ever done, being able to talk to the Lord and come to him in all of my various theatrics and range of emotions, which I am very attached to my theatrics, he has met me kindly and patiently every single time. And although we have this whole record of him being trustworthy to other people, a lot of times we need to see that in our own life. And our God is such a good dad that he will prove it to us. We just need to take that step. I come from a really conservative church background where if I said, oh yeah, I get angry at God and I let him have it, I would be looked at like, how dare you? How dare you have any right to be mad at God? Well, the Psalms are full of laments. There's a whole book in the Bible called Lamentations where Job spent almost a whole entire book just reaming at God. And he called David a man after his own heart. Job actually spoke to God audibly, and they had a relationship with each other after all of that was done, because he grew and he was blessed and he saw, the things of God that were hidden. There is always growth on the other side. Lament, bring it to God. Bring your disappointment to him and your anger. He can take it. And to be able to go to somebody with my anger and my needs and my desires, even when they don't line up with his, but just to have somebody to be like a sounding board for me, somebody that can take all of those in and take my pain and repackage it and give me a purpose, that is incredibly invaluable in our lives. And in order to grow as a Christian, we need to take steps forward in our relationship with God and how we approach him. So I would encourage you to just take it all to him. He understands. He knows what you're going through. And he will take everything and give you growth just on the other side. Because he blesses his children. His children have favor and love that doesn't go away. It doesn't matter who we are. It matters who he is. And if you ever get caught going sideways and looking every which way, ask yourself that question: what is my name? Because my name is Laura, and I am going to focus on how God is guiding Laura. Thank you for being here today. And as always, be brave, stay peculiar.